How's it going? I'm Jared Gillis. Welcome to another All About RVs. Today we're going to be talking about some of our favorite RVing gear, but that's made in the US or made in Canada. But I'm going to need a bit of your help if you're able to. So as always, let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. Now, some of these things have become controversial that we're going to be talking about, but I need your help because it's kind of hard just finding all the stuff that's made in the US and particularly Canada. So if you know something that's not on this list, you don't see it on this list, but you know that it's made in the US or Canada and it's a product that you like, please leave that down in the description. I'd love to be able to find good RVing products from good companies. So number one on our list is our BMW Hitch. After testing and using multiple hitches, this is the one that we landed on, and we've used it a ton, and it's probably the last thing on my list that I would ever worry about. We've taken it to Alaska, we've taken it across the country multiple times, we've been using it for years, and I pretty much don't have any complaints about it. If there's any complaints, it's just how heavy it is and how much space it takes up in the bed of the truck, which I can thank Ram for kind of creating the widest puck system in the bed of the truck out of all three of the manufacturers, but that's besides the point. So the one drawback is kind of its strength too. So while it's pretty difficult to load, even though it comes apart into two pieces into the bed of the truck yourself, it's a positive and a negative because it is very heavy, but it is also a very stout hitch. You don't usually see people complaining about the quality or how durable and tough this thing is, but it's not the only hitch out there that is also made in America. There's actually quite a few that are made in the US. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, as far as weight for hitches, you have the Anderson hitch, also made in the US, but it's on the extreme end of being one of the lightest hitches you can get for a fifth wheel. I know they just came out with an update on it, so I'm curious to see how that performs and how well it holds up. But the one that I'm kind of interested in is the Gen Y hitch. Now, we're going to get to more than just fifth wheel products, but this one really has my interest peaked because Gen Y Hitch has multiple products where you can replace the kingpin on a fifth wheel. And the stuff that I'm seeing from Brinkley and from other tests that I've seen shows that it can really help out the frame. Now, if you're going to change something in your kingpin of your fifth wheel, you need to do a lot of research because there are things you can do here to cause extra stress on the frame that can cause additional issues, but that's not across the board. And some of the things that I've been seeing from Brinkley and some of the other tests that it's been going through shows that it can take a lot of stress off of the frame of the fifth wheel, and with us not doing any modifications to our frame and having some issues that you've seen in past videos, I would like to make some improvements for the RV for the long haul. So Gen Y Hitch makes the list even though we haven't used it before. It's something that we're very interested in. Okay, now this next one I think everybody can love and appreciate, and it's the RV Rhino Tote tank. This thing's amazing. Okay, now hear me out on this one, because if you're using this, you know that the more that you RV, the higher the chance that you have that eventually someday you're going to have a story of the black tank having an issue or a problem or some kind of mess that was created that is going to be very memorable. And if you're walking through the campground with this thing, just chilling and going to the dump station, people are going to know that you have a story and that you should be invited to their campfire. You're going to become the most popular person around there. If you have this hanging on the back ladder of your RV, people know that you take RVing serious. This thing's cool. This thing's like a badge of honor to have as an RVer. But seriously, it is made in the US, tote tank. They come in different sizes, and they do come in handy. So that brings us to this month's sponsor, which is a really good reminder because it's always a good reminder to have a good, fresh water filter on your RV. And the sponsor is Taste Pure. And thankfully, this has the badge of proudly made in the US. That would have been a little awkward on this video if it wasn't, but let me tell you a little bit about it because they've made some changes. They improved this filter, and we always use a water filter on our RV. I took a water sample without a filter and then with a filter, and you can noticeably see how much cleaner the water is with the filter. And that's the thing, you never know the quality of the water. You may not typically notice how dirty the water is, but with a filter, you can get rid of the things you don't want entering your RV plumbing system. It has a 6-step filtration technology with the activated carbon, which reduces bad taste, odors. If you're in a city, the chlorine that's in there, the sediment that you want to block from coming into the plumbing system. It has KDF additives to protect against the bacteria and the fungus and the mold and the things when you're not using the filter, to be able to protect yourself against it when you use it again. It's affordable and easy to use. You can find Taste Pure at a lot of different local dealers and at Walmart, and I'll leave a link down in the description to Amazon. Like I said, we always use a water filter for our RV, even when we're just filling the tanks. We just want to have good, clean water in the RV, and we don't want to have to use water bottles. And this is something you should swap out about every 3 months to get a new filter to have the best water filtration you can for your RV. Links are down in the description. Now, moving on, it is important to understand that there's different types of labels out there for the American-based companies. So, like our levelers, they aren't an American-made product, but they're an American-based company with US-based product support. And that's kind of the same for like Battle-Born batteries. I remember years ago when I did a video on the batteries, I had to remove any American-made or American-assembled type of verbiage from the video and the description because they're an American-based company with US-based support. That's different than made in the USA. Still an American company, just that they have regulations that you can't say made in the US if it's not actually made in the US. Our drain hose for the RV, our Rhino sewer drain hose, the one that we prefer, on it, it says that it's made in the US, but from globally sourced materials. We just had to replace ours. It was getting pretty old and winter finished it off for us. So fresh one for spring. Now, there are some companies that produce a lot of products for RVing, and rather than list everything that they make, it might be easier to talk about those companies. So, like one thing that's on the list that maybe I'm not a huge fan of, but I know is very popular are the X-Chocks. Those are made by BAL, and they make a lot of other things. They have lock arm stabilizers. They make quite a few products. Another one is MoRide. The steps on our RV are made by MoRide. Our suspension is made by MoRide also, or rather the equalizer suspension in the center. MoRide has a lot of RVing products. Now, one of my favorite things is the safe jack components. So these are extensions that you can put on a bottle jack. So we have our bottle jack, has the adapter on there. These things are made in the USA. That's why it's on the list. And you can put these extensions on there. It also has a base plate that this can mount to make it more stable on the ground. And then you can put all kinds of different attachments. I love the safe jack system. It makes it so much easier when jacking up the RV and working on it. Definitely something I'm always keeping on hand. Now, here's one that might be just a little bit controversial, and it's the Sumo Spring. So I've seen where some RV manufacturers don't recommend putting it on their RVs. We had it on our last RV, and we liked the way that it improved the ride. We've also seen some numbers where it makes it better for the RV, not getting so many violent shocks from the road transferred to the frame of the RV. So I'm going to do a little bit more digging because I want to see the evidence behind the Sumo Springs, but these are completely made in the US. Now, this doesn't mean that everything that we buy for RVing is only made in America. That's not the case. I just thought it'd be fun to kind of highlight some of these American-made products that we use for RVing. This is where I could use your help. I know there's more things out there that I'm sure that I'm missing that could be on this list. Like, I think Liquefied is made in the US, the tank treatment that we have. I think Oxblocks is something that we had. I even tried to destroy that thing with a hammer. So I know there's more things out there that are made in the US or made in Canada. So if you have something that would fit well on this list, a piece of RV gear made in the US or Canada, leave it down in the comments below. So I think that's going to do it for today. So as always, hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will see you next video. Take care.